Hello, everyone. Welcome to First Principles. My name is Saagar, and I've got Dr. Mukesh Setia with me. He's a mathematician.
Hi.
Hello. And he's also an educator. On this
Yeah.
episode, we want to delve into the first principles of teaching mathematics, and and specifically about teaching mathematics with maths and teaching separately as well. So I want to take it from here. Just give us a quick introduction, and then we can start.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Thank you, Sagar, for inviting me to this podcast related to maths. And I'm always curious and always interested in talking about and teaching about maths. So I'm like looking forward that we'll be discussing a lot of good things about maths because maths is everywhere. So in
Yes.
today's episode, probably we'll be talking about what is the importance and how we can enhance maths in ourselves.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I guess I'm going to start with the first question, which really bugs me, and I don't know if you'll agree with the characterization of it. But essentially, do you think that there is some issues with maths education and a lot of students, pupils who are not seemingly interested in the subject? That's because there's a problem with the teaching, uh, or do you think it's just essentially interest levels?
Yeah. In India, why we are famous? Because many people come to us because they are scared of maths. So
Hmm.
when you are scared of something and they know that this particular person or a guy or a team is capable of teaching maths, so they rush towards you that how can you teach the scary subject or the difficult subject? So
Yes.
they are usually amazed that, oh, you're teaching the difficult subject. So I smile a bit because maths is not a difficult subject. Basically, many think that it is a gifted thing. You will see
Hmm.
that there are kids, there are students who can grab things so quickly and they are able to solve the puzzles and the equations. Whereas on the other hand, many people think that maths is a very difficult and out of word kind of a thing, and we cannot even look at the equations or trigonometry. They're very scared about trigonometry. So
Yes.
sometimes when I feel that why people are scared, they could be little slow, but
Yeah.
they should not be scared with the maths because maths is all around. It's what I think. I may not be true, but what I think that maths is not an invention. It is rather a discovery.
Right.
You search. You don't create because it's already been created in universe everywhere all around us. It's only to pick that, turn that to equations, to algebra, to shapes, and then you can learn it like by heart or by brain. So
Right, right, right. So I mean, you've answered one of my questions that I had planned. You said it's discovered, it's not invented. Now, is that your firm belief? So it is like a science for you. We go out into the world and we figure out these equations.
yeah, maths can be categorized into all the branches. When
Okay,
you talk about first principle, the
right,
first principle is also known as, I don't know the exact uh, core part of that word, but it's
right,
also called ab initio.
right.
Ab initio is a process where you don't go by the equations, you
Okay,
go by simple things. You go
right,
by area of the rectangle, and by adding the areas of the rectangle, you can get the same answer as you do with the complex equations of integration.
right.
So same way, finding the slope of particular thing, you go by first principle or ab initio. So what I believe that even by collecting small objects or small things, we can reach to the same level where mathematicians or scientists believe that they get. So it's
Hmm.
already there. I mean, even a tiny kid can do the same thing. So it's already there. Maths is already there. It's only to pick and to invent that. Okay, that is I have done. So this is
Right.
what my belief is, that even if few equations which are not being seen can be seen in the near future.
Right, right, right. I was once reading a book, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it, but there the description was that maths essentially is also like music. Now, even if you can't read the notations, and assuming you've got functioning ears, you'll understand the music because they'll be playing it. But what happens with maths if you don't have a right receptor? Then it's going to be really scary. Those equations on the page, they're going to like perhaps eat at you. And I think it was kind of like a syndrome as well, where people were really, it was anxiety provoking. So how do you deal with
Yes.
that?
Oh, well, first of all, as you said, that maths is a music. Or what I did besides writing few books on maths, I have written few abstract concepts, not at all related to maths. So when I went to a publisher, the publisher said, "Why can't you write more books on maths? Why you are writing on an abstract thing which is not related to maths?" But back in my mind, I was thinking that it's exactly the maths. Even if you don't see, you see only the philosophy of life in that book, but somewhere it is dragged from maths because my only experience is maths. So I don't know anything about writing abstract, and still I was writing the abstract things. So it was only because of the maths I was given the downloads from the universe that you can write abstract. So maths is an abstract thing. Music is abstract. Maths is
Right.
abstract. So
Right.
you can relate the two. So, but many a times people think that it's maths is a concept of doing 10,000 questions or doing 5 to 10 books, the
Yeah.
big books. It's
Yeah.
not that.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
I am given a chance to teach maths, I will make people aware of maths. I will make people to love maths.
Right.
Instead
Right.
of instead of taking it to burden, I will
Mm.
tell them to take it as a music, because music lightens you, but
Yeah.
maths burdens you. Why?
Right.
Though they are the same thing. So if
Right.
we can deeply see that maths is that portal, is that thing, then people will definitely understand what maths is.
Okay. So do you think let's just speak about the Indian context, because just as an aside, I was in your coaching center, AVTE, for five
Yeah.
years. I was your student for 2 years. And this is like true, I guess, across all subjects, but especially for maths. Like, you were the best teacher I've had. I would have not gotten the scores or the understanding that I've achieved in at least the school years if it wasn't for AVTE and specifically your classes. That's not an experience I've shared. Uh, like I've had, sorry, at my school at that time, and they were very good with other subjects. But specifically, maths was I don't know, it was very shallow, right? And that's been my issue with it. It's very shallow. I don't know why you're saying what you're saying. I don't know where are these axioms coming from, who assumed it, did anybody divine it, if they divined it, why is it correct? It's not like in science we can go and test the hypotheses, although we need maths for that as well. So it was all these concepts were just like in my head. I couldn't really articulate them. I was young. um, how does one get past this, like when it comes to studying maths as a student in like a formal setting, or as an adult and you want to like revisit your subjects and let's just learn more?
Oh, like the time you were studying maths, and now if you compare the studying maths from that level to this level, has totally changed now. In
Okay.
India, maths has the application. So what
Mm.
I believe that if you can teach the application, then you can really create the interest in that subject.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
what I do, or what my pattern is, to always relate maths with daily life. That what is
Right.
the use of maths? I mean, how we can relate maths. Like one of my friends, Parma. She used to work in University of Pennsylvania, and she did maths. She's a mathematician, but she used to work with doctors for brain bypass surgery.
Right.
It was not heart bypass surgery.
Right.
So she was creating the algorithms, and she used to sit with the doctors and creating those algorithms and patterns, that how you can operate, or how you can turn the arteries or the veins of the brains, and can make people alive and free from diseases. So this is this is how I start with my class, by taking one example or the other. Or
Right.
generally, I take examples related to economics, that why maths is working perfectly. What is the meaning of percentage? Or what is, if you invest some money, why it grows exponentially? What is the meaning of when you are adding only some amount, simple interest? So what I believe, that if you can create the interest in the subject, then maths, people will not question that. Okay, if we are studying the, what's the use of trigonometry, what's the use of integration? So what I believe, that there should be a compatibility. Like in economics, people are generally interested. Why? Because they see case studies, they see everything, the activities around. So maths should not be a plastic. People believe that maths is dead. You need to always write, and you need to mug up the formulae. But if you can relate that maths is a real application, then that curiosity will increase, that vertical and horizontal thinking will increase, and obviously the interest will come, which is massively going down in the entire world. I don't know why people are scared with maths.
Yes, yes. I mean, I guess you're in a beautiful position just in order to figure it out, but also to actually give a solution, and you have been giving a solution. So I do thank you for that. Uh, I mean, I think it was one of the mathematicians called Hardy, and this was perhaps a century and a half ago, where he claimed, in like, I guess he was half-wittingly just saying that whatever work I'm doing, it's going to have no practical applications whatsoever. And then his work was then used in cryptography, which has, I don't know, immense amount of practical applications. So you never know how things go. And what I want to ask you is, like, when your students come and if they essentially, I mean, if they're complaining that, what use is this? So you said you begin your classes with, the use case of whatever we are studying in a particular class. Okay, but do you have students who are genuinely interested in just the life of math, rather than why would it be, why would interest compound? And if yes, then how rare is that breed?
Yeah, Sagar, the thing is, out of, I will not say that many students believe in the life of maths, but yes, there is always a curiosity. But what happens in a developing country, that if you are studying, then your motive becomes that, even academically, or by doing a professional course, you need to start earning. So earning is a major thing in a developing country. So and there are not many maths labs, or not dedicated people. If I, for example, if I consider myself, but
Mm.
I teach maths, I give a lot of motivation to students, but I do not have a maths lab where
Okay.
I go voluntarily talking to kids. So even if I am wanting to promote maths, but I don't give time to that. So
Right.
if that is the thing, how can you generate, or how can you search good students
Mm.
who are definitely wanting a life of maths? I mean, they
Mm.
want to search, they want to feel maths,
Right.
but there need to be, and I'm thinking that from my schedule of a week or a fortnight, I'll give 1 or 2 days to these curiosities, or to these applications where people are people come for the love of maths, for the
Mm.
life of maths.
Yes.
Uh, how tiny it could be, how tiny, even if they can, if they make some patterns related to maths, or some puzzles related to maths, or they create very complex equations.
Mm.
That would be, obviously I cannot solve all the equations because that's under my capacity, but at least I can see kids, or the age group less than 15 or 16, where
Mm. Mm. Mm.
where I can create a maths lab, and
So is
and can
this
search
actually?
people. Yeah, and can search people where they love maths.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, is this something that actually, can we take a brief detour and talk about AVTE for a brief while, if you don't mind? Uh, you know, your center, your school, so to say, because it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So if you just want to take us through that journey.
Yeah, why not? So back in 1988, when I was a student myself, I just gave class 12th, grade 12th paper. I started teaching. And then gradually my brother joined, and and the people started joining us, not only the students, because initially when I was doing the post graduation, at the end of the last year of my post graduation, I was established institution, and there was no competition because there was no hardly any institution providing the secondary education, the help
Mhm.
for the secondary education. And for that I was lucky. And at the same time, the entire team was so dedicated, and a lot of reporters and a lot of PhD students used to come to us to see that why a lot of kids are coming for maths, and in hundreds of capacity, they're studying together, they're laughing, they're not sad. And this was AVT, and it's been like 35 years, and I've taught now two generations. I've taught the father, the mother, and their kids also, sons and daughters. So we were saying that for the third generation, we will make their education totally free for maths, because we have all the recorded chapters. So for the
Yes,
third generation, the education for them would totally be free. We will
right.
not charge anything. Yeah.
I guess the public at large as well. I mean, if you do create like a MOOC, please let me know because I love to just take those classes again, brush up my foundation just for the fun of it. Okay,
Sure, sure.
so when you were still a student, you felt a need to essentially start this project, and I guess there were two sort of frustrations or innovations one could say. There must be something that the students were not getting in their regular schools. That's the reason why they wanted extra
Yes.
attention. Now you can call it one-on-one tuition, but it could also be extra, coaching, a different way of looking at the subject, making it easier for them
Mhm.
to really grasp it. That
Yes, yes, yes.
so, what in your opinion was that, and is are there still remnants of it now, like 20 years down the line?
Yeah, still, because the competition will anyway increase. Now there is
Okay,
a newer pattern called CUET, where everyone has to sit for the same paper at the same time in India.
okay.
So obviously the competition will increase, but the good part is that they are not now asking for 100%. They used to ask a few years back that you need to have this much percentage to get to a good college. But now there is one paper called CUET. It is
Hmm.
equivalent to SAT, where
Okay.
you get a percentile, and on the basis of percentile and your school score, they give you the institutions, and that is, I like this pattern. But anyway, the competition will increase, and schools, they have their own capacity. They go
Hmm.
by timetable. They need to do a lot of activities also. They are bound to cover the particular length of the syllabus, and they go by only this prescribed books. But
Hmm.
kids need students need something extra, the shortcuts. For that, they go to the experts and the people who are totally into the subject. So that's why people will be needing these kind of secondary education. So I'm not blaming schools,
Hmm.
but to enhance, to enrich the subject, people keep going to, or students will keep going to these institutions.
Hmm. I mean, definitely no blame whatsoever. I guess schools can learn from these experiments, and of course, the
Yeah.
alternative schooling methods can learn from schools. Obviously, I
Mhm.
yeah, okay. So I do think you said somebody who's really invested in the subject, but somebody who's really invested in the subject and thinking about the way they want to impart the subject as well. Because a lot of students, and again, this is probably me projecting on a lot of students, but they're really put off if they don't get instructors who are, I guess, solid with their particular subject. And then one, if you're really relying on an instructor, that's how you assess information in like common schooling, then that might be a problem with a lot of folks, particular to that subject. So have you had to sort of face such cases? And I think the answer is yes, but like how do you go about tackling that? Like there's like a hang up, in like a child, and then you have to first work through that, and then start imparting the new concepts.
Yeah. What I can read your question is that how we can tackle students of different mindset with the subject. Is it that?
Yeah.
So yeah. Good. There are fast learners, there are slow learners, but there are learners. So this is what we firmly believe in, and what we do if you are not able to get the logic so quickly at the end of the class, not in the class, not in front of all the students, we talk to you on one-to-one basis that initially accept that you are not grabbing things, because what happens, you become you anxious, you also become scared because a lot of other people are answering very fast and you're not capable of answer the first question, so you lag behind, and you blame yourself, you turn yourself into a guilt, which is a problem. So first of all, accept yourself. If you are a little slower learner, not a problem. Then what you can do, you can practice more questions, or you can see the recordings, or you can see the class notes again and again. And that is, you need to frame mirror yourself. You need to accept that this is how I am, and this is, if I'll practice. So from day 1 to day 10, the progress will be like this. It could be a parabolic graph for you. It could be a straight line for you. It could be exponential for you. So you cannot copy anyone. You need to first of all figure out what you are, and then accordingly you can go. Well, in group coaching, the pattern is same, the flow is same, but we have the arrangements where we call open down classes. You are most welcome to come, to sit, to practice, to self-study, or to ask questions from the instructors, and they will teach you. So this is how we keep on creating the interest, even for the slow learners. And they end up doing very good. So it's not only maths, because what I believe that maths will also give you the confidence to walk high head. This is what my motto is.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that? Why do you think it does that? Is there a certain amount
Because
of...
I have seen people that there are few streams in India which you can take with maths or without maths, like the commerce you can take with maths or without maths. So there is a habit of saying that I have commerce with maths, or I do not have commerce. I have commerce without maths. So when you say without maths, so the the feeling of guilt comes that, oh, I am not capable of doing maths. Many people, they make fun of maths, but deep down they say, okay, I was not capable of doing maths. So there, it pinches me a lot, because had it been they were coming to me, or the instructor with the same mindset what we have, they could also do maths. But the only thing could be that they may not be that fast, but it doesn't matter. Now, because now with CUET, it's not important to get 100%. Even with 80-75%, you can enjoy subjects.
Right. So the incentives have been changed.
Yes, and if with the changing times, you need to also change yourself, that maths, because it's logic. And the new scientific research is, if you're doing logics, if you're doing maths, then the memory loss in older ages also decreases. So you can live your life strongly if you do maths. This is what...
It's like a mind gym. I mean, you keep your mind healthy.
Yes, mind gym.
Exactly.
Solving puzzles and be on the track. And I think it's like you can physically enhance, mentally enhance yourself by doing maths.
Right. That's very interesting. I do want to come back to that particular point, but I wanted an example as well. Okay, so you said maths is something which is discovered out there, right? I give you an example of that book in which the author was talking about music, and at least we can hear music if you've got functioning pair of ears. Now, with maths, I'm assuming that the receiver of that information in a book or in a function needs to have certain kind of training, right? So how do you... So question one, in your opinion, does everybody, if they are willing to put themselves through the grinder, they'll become a good receiver, which means that what's the, I guess, biological, psychological basis that human beings have which lead them to math? Is it logic, or like how does that work in your opinion?
Yeah, Sagar, correct me if I'm wrong, but your question can be answered with what experience I have.
Hmm.
That even in music, some people like country music, some people like a classical one, some people like raps and heavy metal. So,
Hmm.
same way, we should not be judging them.
Hmm.
That why you are not liking the classical music, why you only listening to hard rocks or metals. So same way, if we assume that maths as a music, which is definitely, then in my opinion, we can, if someone is not able to do maths, then we can have the options of breaking maths into coordinate geometry, trigonometry, algebra. So it is your choice that you want to do a coordinate music of coordinate geometry. It's like a classical music. If you want
Hmm.
to do if the calculus part, real analysis, which is again, you can say hard rock. So you can
Hmm.
also plug into a section of maths instead of doing the entire maths.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I'll be given a chance, or if through you or through you or your university, that I want to message people that you can also branch maths and can give the freedom to kids to not to study the entire maths, but to take a branch of it,
Hmm.
like they listen to rap, or they listen to country music, and I think you're getting my point. And
Yes, yes, yes.
just of it, yeah.
Yeah. So are these okay? So then, on that subject, how many branches do you think maths has? What's the agreed upon number?
There are many. There are many. Like you can divide them into algebra. You can divide them into largely into trigonometry and calculus and coordinate geometry and probability. So the probability and stats is, well, sometimes it's taken as a branch of economics also, and the
Hmm.
calculus is also taken as a branch of physics also. So
Right.
you can combine them, and
You can
you
combine
don't
them.
force them to do the entire math. Then gradually you can have generations which will not be scared of maths, but they will say, okay, we're doing maths. The way we
Yeah.
like the music, same way we're liking this branch of maths, and
Right.
it will not be burden, but I mean, you can inject maths in them too.
Yes. Yes. So since somebody's really adept at trigonometry, let's say, and then they're getting good at calculus, maybe now
Yeah.
I'm assuming, of course, you're going to need arithmetic for doing anything, but then like any advanced arithmetic, they might get interested there as well, and just for the fun of it. Okay. This is not like a direct sort of logical question, but I was wondering, like you mentioned that the new exam procedure has come in that's made subjects more enjoyable because the incentives have changed. At least during my time, most and again, this is the energy I got, so obviously I did not survey anybody, but most folks were essentially focused on getting a particular number on their exam, right? So even if they do not really understand the question, if they just do it often enough, and we've been told maths is about practice. So if you practice that question for like 20 times, 50 times, there's a high likelihood of a similar question coming in your exam. Now, as an educator, as a teacher, do you feel this is cheapening the subject? How do you tackle that, or do you just accept it because they're doing what they have to do?
Like uh, if if you take me as an educator, then my motive will be to make students get the larger percentages. So for
Mm,
that, I
mm,
could be a little plastic. I could tell them, okay, if you're not able to crack the question, practice again, again, and again, and then gradually it'll like be going to gym and making a physique. So that way. I will definitely be forcing them to do more of questions to get good percentage, because there my duty is, or my responsibility is, to increase the grades of the students. So I'll be as framed as any educator would be, because
yes,
that's for
exam is the
that
focus.
for that for that they are coming to me. Many
Mm,
matlab, many people come to us just to increase the grades. I have my own opinions, but they're coming to me for increasing their grades. So they expect that I will make them aware of maths and they will keep on solving the question. So if they do not, we tell them to listen to these video lessons again, to practice these notes, and then to practice these many questions. So sometimes it becomes plastic, but that's how you can enrich students. And the other part of which we were talking about, that was more abstract, related to maths. But as far as increasing the percentage, I will be same as any educator. I will tell them to ask any doubts they have, but they should be very energetic and they should be very focused on that. And these are two things we are probably now mixing. One is a regular student coming to me and wanting me to teach him or her to increase the grades. Yes, most of my time goes into that only. And yes, I'll be very clear that I tell them to do as many questions. Okay, I'll give you my material, I'll give you few links, and practice and practice. And practice makes a person perfect. And I also say that if you are perfect, practice again, you will be perfect square. So perfect square is an example of perfect square is the logic of maths, where you can never be negative. So that's a hardcore study. So I believe that hardcore study is teaching and studying, both are very important as an educator. And if we keep this thing aside, if we keep percentage aside, then we can talk about music or maths or some other things.
No, I guess what I was asking was initially, because of the, I don't want to say lowering of standards, but because the standards have perhaps become more optimal, and students are enjoying the subjects more, according to you. Is that, was that a problem before the laws were changed, or I guess the policy was changed, where
people used to mug up things, and when you mug up things, you cannot do variation of things. You can do one or two particular questions, but if they give the variation of question, then you will be stuck and your interest will lose. So that was the problem. Now I think it is little better.
Okay. Speaking from like, I guess, my personal perspective, I've always been like a lazy student, and mugging things, or learning them by rote I was like, this is just too inefficient. I can't do this. So like, I'm surprised how people have that calculus in their head and decide to just learn things by rote, rather than actually understanding it. This is like, but they do it very well, don't they? When they are taking those tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Lazy. Yeah, you could be lazy, but when it comes to subject, the basic thing is interest. If you have interest and if you have goals with you, you can never be lazy. Like at 10 o'clock, you're recording this, you cannot be lazy. You could be lazy on probably that time because you were not finding the goals around you. But once you have goals, because now what I believe in India also, the education is not about writing a few lines. It is about enhancing. It is holistic, that you keep on motivating kids and you keep on telling them examples, and then they gradually increase their focus and motive, and they just get up and keep doing practice. So motivation, I believe that you should have more motivators than subject educators.
Interesting. Okay. I guess one thing I'll say is, like, I've just examined this about myself. I like to tackle a problem when I'm trying to learn something from three different angles. So one angle is like 50,000 feet on an airliner, just the bird's eye view. The other angle is the worm's eye view, because I need to really go deep as well, and then have the ability to go up and down. So like, I guess the people's eye view or whatever, like the main thing. So most of the time in my sort of academic career, I've just gotten lost. Like I've been thrown in a jungle without much context, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how does this link to this, and how do we, why do we have these assumptions that we have? So hence, I guess, my interest in first principles. So I guess to that, what is maths? to you? What are the first principles of it? How did it begin in your understanding? I know, and I guess a lot of
No,
cultures say,
you want
yeah,
to you want to know about what is the definition of maths?
yeah. What's the definition of maths?
Maths is a relationship.
It's a
Maths
relationship.
is connecting one thing to the other.
Okay.
Though it needs a logic or the shapes, but ultimately it is connecting one thing to the other. Heat with temperature,
Hmm.
sound with speed, light with speed, galaxies with shapes. We call them elliptical, we call them spiral, and you will be surprised that nowadays everyone knows about Fibonacci series. That everywhere we can see a golden ratio. That it is not surprising that maths was there. It is there. That even if you see the patterns of petals and the flower patterns or the pine coals, you will see that there are fixed patterns and they exactly go by the equations of maths. So how can you just ignore maths? Because it is a perfect relationship. You
So
calculate, even in astrology, you calculate permutations and combinations with planetary motion. So these
yes.
are again the core things of maths. So how can you ignore maths? So
Yes, yes. Okay, so it's a study of relationships then. Yeah, that's what you said.
yeah, definitely
Fundamentally.
patterns
Okay.
and patterns and relationships. What I believe matters.
Interesting. Okay. And then so when the shapes come in, the geometry comes in, or when the number theory comes in, the arithmetic comes in, we are
Yes.
essentially figuring out relationships between these multiple entities. There has to be something which is already there.
Yeah. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. We need to. Yeah. It's a combination of each and everything. So
Interesting.
even even the architect, or where we create buildings, or we see the ancient buildings, they were so precise and they're so exact, relating to their shapes and geometry and equations. So this is the maths
Hmm.
is.
Interesting. Okay. And now, how do you think these initial principles, on which I guess axioms are based, and I'm sorry if I'm messing up my definitions, on which these axioms are based, how are they derived? Now, I guess there is a theory where if you think through things logically, you come up with a common sense solution. I don't quite buy that because I think there is something which sometimes hits you and like a new way of looking at things come in. And then you go ahead using scientific methods, try to falsify it, figure out is the truth or not.
Sagar, there are both the things. Like
Okay.
in music, they say you are either gifted or you are trained well.
Okay.
So when it comes to exams and writing the formulas, there are both the things. There is a possibility that you sitting and at once you get the idea that, oh, this is how the nature is working, and you write one equation and you prove that using induction or any other mathematical models, and then you finally come to a conclusion of writing a formula or excel. And the other thing is that you are trained well, you are trained under the experts, where they keep on making you strong about picking the ideas, or make you aware that this is how you can grab or create one equation or exam. So it is a combination of the gift and enhancement, both the things. Because if you go by the case study of a mathematician, the respected Ramanujan, or the Madam Curie, Curie, the one invented the radium or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So
Madam Curie.
they are writing in their books that they sometimes even in dreams were getting the messages of how formulas can be done, or how mathematically they can solve the equation. So this is like a kind of supernatural kind of a thing. But what I believe, yes, for maths, there are people who are gifted, and then those people enhance other people, or the train people then train another people, then you can create the generations, or you can create masses where they can create exams and formula for the newer generations. Like
So,
in AI, like in AI, you have complex mathematical equations. Every computer language has a complex mathematical equation. So the core part is again maths.
okay. So here, essentially, you would want, sure, you don't want to only rely on gifts. That's the reason you want to systematize it. But then I'm also wondering if you never get an original insight, that will be frustrating, especially if you're very well trained. And if you only get original insights and you do not have good training, you can't convert that to anything, to a proof, to anything. So both those situations are so frustrating, and they need to be merged. And I think, like, I guess even at the school level, something or the other lacks. I guess the mentality, and again, this is not me casting aspersions on specific people, but again, this is the zeitgeist I observe. The mentality is pass this, get into the right college, and then that's it, and then forget about it. But
Yeah,
it's
this
that.
is, I don't like. Even sometimes people ask me, I'm very sorry, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They say, you are a doctor, so why you are studying smaller classes? You can go to university to teach. So this is what I want, that degree should not be important. Rather, if you are more into this subject, more into the experience, then you can come down to the lower classes and give them your experience.
Yeah.
You can enhance them. What happens if we are more educated? Then they send us to post graduation colleges. But the need right now, Sagar, according to you, is to remove the frustration level at school level, and it should not be only merely be. It should not merely be getting marks or the jobs. So when you are expert, then to one extent you can leave the economics part, that you may not be given that much salary when you go to school level. So if we can create those experts which are dedicated towards the subject, and when they go visit schools or universities, and they motivate and tell the tricks and the interests towards the subject, then yes, there could be a change. Not very fast change, but gradually it will not make the subject die.
Yes. Yes. That's very well said. I want to ask you a few other questions, which, and I'm of course mindful of our time as well. How do you think maths connects with philosophy? And then I guess the next question would be, how do you think it connects with just general, like the creative process and the sciences? Just like what
Oh,
came from where, or are they
yeah,
separate?
yeah. Philosophy. When I say philosophy, it means my wisdom. Oh, philosophy, yes, as far as I know that, because I have written abstract things also. So it's the wisdom and freedom to write anything. So maths, yes, is philosophy, yes, because with maths you can have a wisdom. Your capacity is not limited, it is unlimited. So with maths, if you consider maths as a philosophy of life, or philosophy to make things easier for people, or the peoples who are the for the people who are not that strong mentally or emotionally or physically, then yes, maths is a philosophy. I respect, and I this is one of my my thinking is that it is a freedom, it is a wisdom. So I consider maths to be a wisdom, because there are abstract things. There are things which you simply cannot explain, but you can experience. So that's the beauty of that wisdom. So I do not have words to explain, but the
No, I mean,
question is striking me a lot, because I totally agree with what you are saying, that it's a philosophy. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
And when
it's
it
very
comes
apparent.
to,
Yeah.
as you said, that you will come to the science and the arts part of it, that is so known. But the philosophy is a newer thing, because I generally sit and thinking about the same. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess I spend a lot of time on Google just actually asking these questions. It's gotten better over the years with the various AIs, but I don't know. Like one, I guess there was a concept, I guess in the olden times of like a gentleman scientist, somebody who was independently wealthy, putting their money in these particular research areas of which we don't really have of that anymore. But anyway, I digress. I do want to ask. Now, I remember my classes with you every Tuesday and Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., right? That is a test and of endurance. Like I have to tell you that. It was so hard.
Endurance,
It was
resilience, and
yes.
endurance.
So is that built in, or what was this just like a pragmatic decision that you're gonna have 2 4 hour classes? Or did you systematically build in the whole sit down like and practice the whole design of the class? Because in schools you have like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then you move on, right? This was like
Yeah,
a 4 hour
yeah.
marathon.
Yes, and still, you were not that exhausted or fatigued. You could be because you were doing a lot of questions there, and there were probably many kids. But it is all about. They say that if you have a concentration of more than 41 minutes. Generally, what school periods are 35 to 41 minutes or 45 minutes.
Yeah.
This is where the concentration begins and the period ends.
Right.
So it
Right.
should be at least 90 minutes. Now, after COVID, I have seen that the concentration level and the endurance level has decreased. So we have also narrowed down the time period because we have to always respect what generations are wanting, and we need to be very smart that by their needs, how
Right.
can we train them to
Right.
maximum level. So now we have reduced the class time, but still it's like 2 hours, and we after that we make them sit to discuss. So it's more of a friendly way instead of monologues and you listening and teacher is only imparting. So after 2 hours, there is a conversation. Whosoever wants, they can sit behind and they can talk to me, and they can discuss their views on what problems they had in their classes. So with time things change, but yes, if you are studying some subjects, then there has to be endurance, there has to be resilience, and there has to be a constant motivation that you have to have all the knowledge. And in Buddhism also say that if you're coming to a teacher, then your brain should be like an empty cup. If you're already full, or if you do not have the endurance, then how can you learn? So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
I keep
So
telling the same to kids. Yeah.
yeah. So that I think that endurance was baked in, and of course I get the. So speaking of new generations and like technology also evolving. You've mentioned a couple of times in the podcast here that you often ask folks to go ahead and look at the library of old lectures. Just to now that is a luxury I didn't have. When I was growing
Yes,
up. So
yes.
how much of that has impacted your teaching and I guess just the student experience?
If I could imagine that uh, now you come to my classes, we'll be having a better connection and better conversation, because now even when you are afar, you can easily connecting with me. Same way we have all the lectures videographed, we have all the notes done with encrypted PDFs. So, and they are available. Even you go to Antarctica, you have the access to all those things. So you will never have uh, a chance to lose any information. If you are even a bit keen, you will always be ready with all the information. So this is
Right.
how I like. But at your time, if you there was not a concept of recording lectures, and internet was not that. It was very expensive also.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yes, with technology, I believe technology is something which is very amazing, and it connects people. Some people say that it is making you more emotionless or plastic, but on the other hand, it is now I'm connected to many students. Had
Mm.
it been the same thing, where you have only no cell phones, only the landlines, how can you be always be connecting with your students and sharing their experiences, your experiences with them? So yes, this era is better if you
Yeah.
use all the things correctly.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I mean, we can't really. In fact, I think technology is essentially the get whatever the get rid of jail free card, get out of jail free card, whatever you call it, because that is the
Though it
Malthusian.
has
Yeah. Yes.
distractions also, but
Yes.
if you are keen or if you are focused with the subject and goals,
Yeah.
then you have good chances of not to lose any information.
Yes. So speaking of that, are you still primarily an in-person organization, or do you have online offerings as well, where somebody, let's say,
we
sitting in
we
Chennai?
are, yeah, we are a hybrid.
Okay.
We still respect the offline classes, face-to-face classes. You cannot change that.
Yeah.
Even if you
And there's a vibe.
have, yeah, even if you have metaverses, even you have
Hmm.
holographic classes, but you cannot have the heat of emotion exchanging between the teacher and the student. So that is, I would say that is a very human kind of a thing that you cannot change. But yes, kids from afar, from say 500 kilometers, or from Dubai, from Nagpur, from Calcutta, they are now able to get our classes online, as well as with our pre-recorded lectures. And in our channel also, YouTube channel, we have more than 1 lakh students now,
Oh, nice. Okay.
100,000 students. So
Okay. Great. Okay. So we've got only a few minutes left. I want to speak about one thing. You talked about math labs, right? Is that the term that you use? Now, what are those in your conception? And
maths labs could be discussions,
hmm,
could be quizzes, could be creating podcasts the way you are doing, uh, and obviously creating equations and physically creating shapes, newer dimensions. They
hmm,
say flatlanders can think about 3D, and like we are 3D, we can think about 4D.
hmm,
So, for people in metaphysics and quantum, they are strongly believing that there is a fourth dimension also. So,
hmm.
you can have those discussions in those classes using the concepts of maths. So,
Is that something that you will
it's,
start, or is this
yeah.
something more? Okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
I will definitely be. If yes, I will be. I'm keen to start, and if someone can fund, then we can begin with the schools, or if I can take this idea to schools, so then there will be a very stronger network where we can create. You don't
Yes,
need a very big space, but you need the time of the educators. That
yes,
way they can invest.
yes. And and how will you distinguish between something which somebody have thought of and the truth, so to speak? You know, the boring truth. Like, is there a fourth dimension or not? Now, different people's conceptions are going to say different things. So, is there a mechanism of getting to truth in maths? Um,
No. You cannot have the answers in maths as unique.
okay,
There could be paradoxes, but maths always wanting to reach to a particular answer.
okay.
So there could be discussions. There could be discussions which can last for days, for years, for centuries, but there will be only one answer. So
Right.
maths labs could be those discussions, but the end result will be to reaching to one answer,
Mm,
uniqueness.
Okay, okay, got it. And finally, would you ever consider creating like an introductory course for young adults or just adults, old adults, folks who have not visited the subject for a while? They want to get like a good brush it up in a good way, and then just pursue their interest if they're not working professionally as a mathematician. Something that you do.
So what course I will what
Is
course I will make?
if you
Yeah,
want? I mean, is
I will.
that somebody you consider it?
Yeah. I will begin with fundamental method of counting. a very
Okay.
general way of if you're going to buy some trousers and shirts, in how many ways you can buy them. And from that, I will come to permutations, combinations, polynomials, and gradually the calculus. That's enough. If you are a layperson wanting to know about maths, then my beginning will be to begin with the fundamental common sense, that
Yes.
if you're picking two shirts from 30, so then the arrangement will be 30 into 29. That's
Right.
all. It's so basic. And then we can really create interest in maths, and then gradually maths for mutual funds, maths for investments.
Yes.
And this way you can inject maths in people and they will love that. It's like
Okay.
no
I
side
am.
effects.
Please sign me up for that course. I'm coming for, like, whenever you
You-
start, I'm on the way.
We can create it. We can create it together. Not a problem. So
Okay, absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
this has been great. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this. I don't know if you'd like to do this again. I'd love to do this again after a while because I want
Sure.
to get
Why not?
into a
If
lot
you'll
of
give me the
topics.
chance.
Of course.
Yeah, if you will give me the chance, then I know. Thank you
All
so,
right.
so very much. So sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.